it into one of my recipes and in search of inspiration. The heart of black pudding in Britain is indisputably Lancashire, and in particular,
the town of Bury. It's still made here and still eaten here, but just how the locals eat it is what I want to know.
Definitely a fan of black pudding.
Breakfast, definitely grilled, full English breakfast, no other way.
I like black pudding, yes, and so do my friends as well. And I eat it, I'd have it for a tea, you know, for something, you know, for a snack and that. It's very, very nice.
I normally fry it. You can also boil, grill, whatever, but it's great anyway.
I actually eat it with gammon, an egg and pineapple, which sounds really strange, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
Black pudding has been made in Bury by one company continuously for over 100 years, and it's owned by Debbie.
What makes the black pudding special is the actual recipe itself. There's lots around, but these are, you know, quite special. Everybody seems to like them.
Making black pudding is not for the faint-hearted. Dried pig's blood and cleaned intestines are turned into nearly 2,000 tonnes of pudding every year.
Yeah, everybody wants to make a good black pudding, and they enjoy doing it as much as I do, and I think that's what makes it so successful.
Black pudding is not to everyone's taste, it's true, but even some of Britain's top chefs swear by it. I asked 3 local ladies who love using black pudding at home to show me step by step exactly how they like to cook it. Michelle, who lives on the outskirts of Bury, Lindsay, who lives in Leyland with their 2 cats and 3 chickens, and Hannah, who lives in Didsbury, South Manchester. Ladies, over to you. So first up, Michelle and her black pudding with scallops.
First of all, I boiled a pan of chicken stock and I put frozen garden peas into it with a bit of mint and salt and pepper. In the other frying pan, I fried my black pudding off, returned that to a plate, and then I put the scallops in and fried those off. I blitzed the pea mash and then plated it all up. Finish it off with a bit of balsamic glaze.
Michelle's is a straightforward recipe and one you often find as a restaurant starter, but it's an easy and honest way of serving black pudding. Next, it's Lindsay, who likes her black pudding in phyllo parcels with rhubarb.
I like the combination of local ingredients but with something different like phyllo pastry. First of all, you saute the finely chopped black pudding in a little oil in a pan. You then remove that, fry the onion and the rhubarb just for a few minutes to start the softening process, and then add some cider, which you then simmer for a little while till you have like a thick paste. You then add the black pudding back to the pan, pushing it up, and then allow that to cool. Then you make your parcels by rolling out your phyllo pastry and putting about a spoonful in each one. Form your pastry parcels and then pop them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're golden.
Lindsay recommends serving these lovely parcels with a sweet chilli sauce dip, rhubarb and black pud. Nice one, Lindsay. Finally, it's Hannah's turn.
I think black pudding is a really great ingredient because it's thrifty, it tastes fantastic, and it's really nice to be cooking with something that's an offcut that would otherwise go to waste, and cooking something that's traditionally British.
Hannah's making a steak and Guinness black pudding pie.
Combine the onion, the celery, the carrot and the beef. Mix those together with the stout, Worcester sauce and a generous amount of seasoning. Cook that on a hob with the lid on for a couple of hours until the meat starts to soften. Skin your black pudding and then cut that up into large chunks and mix that through the pie mix. And then you need to prepare your pastry case. Line the inside of a baking case with puff pastry. You want to part bake that. And then when that comes out, you spoon the mixture into the base of the pastry case. And then you take another piece of pastry and you lay that over the top. Pop a hole in the centre, trim off the excess and bang it in the oven. And it will be done in about 30 to 40 minutes.
Hannah's dish is closest to how I want to cook with black pudding, but I'm going to be using sausage meat in my pie. Hannah, You use black pudding in a pie like I'm going to, actually. I think black pudding is more eaten in the north. They're not as passionate down south. It's a slight cultural thing. Do you find that yourself?
I've only ever really lived in the north, so I know loads of people who are proper black pudding advocates, and you don't just eat it at breakfast, you can eat it with loads of different things, so you can stick it in risotto, or you can have it crispy with other things, or there are other interesting things that you can do with
risotto?
it. Yeah, like, you wouldn't put it in the risotto, but you might have it, like, sliced really finely and then crisped up, and you would have it dressed.
Are you saying it's like a northern truffle?
Yeah, maybe a bit of a northern truffle.
So, there you have it. Black pudding is a northern truffle. OK, now I'm going to make a poor man's beef Wellington. This is no normal sausage meat plat. Fresh, buttery pastry, mushrooms, caramelised onions, and of course the deep flavour of British black pudding make this pie rock. If you could chop up that black pudding.
How finely diced would you like it?
I still like it, you know, fairly chunky.
Yeah.
If you can mix that, just chop it up, mix it with the sausage meat and pop it in there for me.
OK, cool.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Now, I've got some chestnut mushrooms here, which are broken down and chopped into very small pieces. Pop these into a pan, and then you cook these down, and the only reason why you're going to cook it down is to evaporate most, if not all, the moisture inside that mushroom. And it takes about 5–10 minutes, that's it. Once you've done that, you need to pop it into a processor and just literally blitz it down. So it ends up in a paste like that. So it's fairly dry, which is what you want in the bottom of your sausage plat, because you don't want a soggy bottom soaking through to that pastry at the bottom.
Nobody wants a soggy bottom.
You don't want a soggy bottom, do you? It's not a good idea to have a soggy bottom. Have you mixed up all the sausage meat here?
No, I'm about to do that now, chef. Sorry.
I'm not a chef, I'm a baker.
OK, sorry.
Higher up the tree than a chef.
Oh, OK.
OK. Next, chop up a red onion. Keep the sides fairly chunky. It's nice to get a taste of it in the pie. Got another little job for you.
There you go. Is that all right?
You can shred that thyme and dump it straight in there.
OK.
Now, the sausage meat I'm using is quality butcher's pork meat, but using good sausages works well too. Just take off the skins. I love sausages, so the best thing to do is actually pick the sausage that you like.
Yeah.
And it could be pork, could be venison, could be anything.
Yeah.
But pick a sausage meat that you like and use that.
Yeah.
But you then heighten it, give it that earthiness with the pudding.
Yeah.
And that little bit of thyme in it. You'll see for yourself when you try it, but trust me, it does work.
Yeah.
When I was watching, you know, how they make black pudding, you think, grand. Sometimes I'm one of those people that really don't want to know where it comes from. Because when I saw it, I went, do you know what I mean? I couldn't work in there. I could eat it, but I don't really want to see it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I'm quite happy to watch people from the distance of my TV making it, but I think that being in the room while it's being put into the casings, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Because it's the pig's blood is the big thing that people go, no. As soon as you mention that, they go, don't want to know.
Yeah.
They just get put right off. Now, into this pan with the onions, we're going to add the butter, and I'm going to add the sugar, brown sugar. Now, this will start melting and start caramelising these onions.
Right.
Now, you need to cook these for about 10 minutes, and then you add the sherry vinegar straight into it, and then reduce that down again for another 5–10 minutes. And you end up with something that looks like this. It's beautiful and soft, and they smell so sweet.
What does the sherry vinegar add to it, then?
Well, the flavour and the sweetness.
Yeah, that smells fantastic.
It smells great, doesn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
So your component parts are your sausage meat with the black pudding and the thyme, you have your mushroom paste, and then you have your caramelised onions, and I've got some sesame seed. Now it's puff pastry time. This really needs to be made in advance, and it keeps well until you need it, even frozen. Keep this pastry cool and handle it as little as you can.
Is this homemade by you, or is it ready roll like I would use?
You walk into my kitchen, call me a chef, and then say, is that bought pastry?
And then I expect you to feed me, I'm sorry.
That's right. Now, this is where you start to build your sausage plat. So to start with, get your mushrooms and place it sort of down the middle. Get in there, use your hands, make a little channel, leave a little gap at the end. I'm going to layer the sausage meat and black pudding mixture on top of the mushrooms. It forms a nice ridge running along the top, so you can see where the sort of beef Wellington idea comes from, you know? Because normally you just put a bit of fillet in there, but I'm using some sausage meat packed out with some beautiful black pudding. Hope you like this, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be delicious.
And top the meat mixture with caramelised onions.
This is going to taste fantastic. You've got mushrooms, you've got the sausage meat, you've got black pudding inside with the thyme, then you've got that gorgeous onion in there as well.
To make the plait, take a sharp knife, trim off the ends and the sides, stretch the corners, fold over the top and push down to seal the ends. Cut 2 centimetre strips all the way down the pastry on each side of the filling and fold over to create the plait effect.
So you fold over one and go over the other side. So you take it from corner to corner and likewise over again, all the way down. And this forms a beautiful sort of little plait lattice work on the top, which looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks lovely. I think it's going to be delicious. It's reminded me of like a giant, like glamorous sausage roll.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Just tuck it underneath, nice and neat. Just make sure it's tacked all the way down. And that basically is your sausage plait. Get some egg wash, quite a rich one, and brush it all over the top with egg wash.
What makes the egg wash rich?
I've used mainly yolk. So I've got one egg and a yolk in there, which makes it very yellow, which gives it the colour, that golden colour. Now, once you've got all your egg wash on the top, get some sesame seed and just coat the top in the sesame. And what happens when the sesame goes into the oven? The sesame seeds, when they hit the heat, they explode and release their juices and all the oils and resins inside, and that gives you that slightly nutty flavour on the top. So this is going to bake off at 200 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. I'm going to pop it in there now. You can see what's happened. It's roasted all the sesame seeds on the top. Gorgeous golden colour on the top. Let's take a layer.
Oh, that looks amazing.
And there you have it. That is a sausage plait fit for any table. Beef Wellington, you should be quaking in your wellies.
This pie has everything, not just looks. The black pudding gives the mushrooms and sausage meat a deep, savoury taste, which is balanced by the sweet onions.
Hannah, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we eat it.
OK.
Still to come on Pies